Grand Theft Auto 5 still reigns supreme. Even after all this time, I can't put it down. It's the ultimate sandbox crime-based action-adventure game. Guns, cars, blimp, characters definitely not based on Lindsay Lohan as decided by law, and an open world of unmatched detail. And online. So, pop quiz hot shit. How many copies of Grand Theft Auto 5 have been sold? Over 180 million copies, that's who. That's more units sold than there is grains of sand in the night sky, making GTA 5 one of the best-selling video games of all time, second only to Minecraft. But you know, that's not really fair. Because of GTA 5's mature rating, it can't be used as a babysitter in the same way as Minecraft. But even as it is, there aren't many games that have made as big an impact as GTA 5. It was the perfect swan song game for the PS3 360 generation. And swan song in this case meaning hanging on and being unwaveringly popular for 10 years. Straddling 3 console generations, there are few games that have endured for such a long time. It's actually scary to think that GTA 5 is now further away in time from GTA 4 than GTA Vice City is from the age of the dinosaurs, or thereabouts. But still, it seems GTA 5 is as vital now as it was when it first released. Still popping up in the top 10 weekly sales charts, still entertaining a huge active player base, still getting regular updates, still not loving police, and still the greatest game of all time. So how has it managed it then, to be the best after all this time? Well, the online component is obviously a massive factor, which can't be understated, and it's helped sustain the popularity of GTA 5 for sure. Microtransactions are great, and so is repeatedly getting killed by randoms on flying motorbikes, definitely. But for me, the base game is still as appealing now as it was when it was first released. And I think that's due to the fact that it just doesn't seem to have aged. It still looks and plays great. It is, after all, the product of a long and demanding development, with a lot of time spent overhauling Rockstar's advanced game engine. It was worked on by a team of more than 1,000 people and is one of the most expensive games ever made. So there's that. And it stayed looking fresh over the years thanks to next-gen hardware upgrades. So there's that as well. Plus, it's arguably the pinnacle of one of the most notorious and acclaimed franchises ever, adding to its already massive appeal with numerous innovations and improvements and another stunning open world. But chiefly, I think it's the fundamental gameplay which is the main draw. Like with any great game really. It's those solid gameplay foundations, which were already tight as clenched buns to begin with, and have stayed that way over the years. For example, case in point, i.e. the driving. The driving of cars and bikes in GTA 5 is the best it's ever been. I remember thinking that on day one, that just driving around in GTA 5 was fun all by itself, and so it remains, with a massive variety of vehicles that all handle distinctly from one another and each enjoyable in their own way. Whether you're cruising along the coast in a convertible, rolling down Grove Street in a six-foal, or trundling peacefully over the fairway in a golf cart. Each vehicle feels perfectly calibrated, and there's a pleasurable drifty arcade feel to cars and bikes in GTA 5 that's really appealing. Add to that boats, helicopters and a butt-ton of planes. Again, all feel goodly optimised and funnily usable. And you know what else is just as fun as the driving in GTA 5? It's the shooting the guns in GTA 5. Shooting the guns is great. The punch of a shotgun and the kick of an MG. Guns feel weighty and impactful, and firefights can feel impressively dramatic. Especially when combined with the character switching mechanic, and the tension of a meticulously planned heist goes from stealth play to gun party. Squeezing gats never felt so good. Not to mention the beautiful fiery carnage that unfolds when you send a rocket whooshing up the bunghole of an LSPD squad car. That'll show 'em. And remember when I said GTA 5 hasn't really aged? Well, it's because going on a rampage in this game never gets old. It can be hard to put down when the mood for mayhem takes you. After respawning back at the hospital, there's an irresistible urge to just start some shit up again. I love it. It's easy to get all poetic about games, but you can't beat a good rampage in GTA 5. It's when dumb carnage is so much fun it becomes almost poetic. It's like the video game equivalent of death metal or something. It's like Primal and shit. Speaking of rampages, in previous GTA titles, I found there to be a kind of duality in the way I play. There's normal play, doing missions, driving relatively sensibly, and making good progress towards becoming the top G kingpin of the world. And then there's post-save play, when you've finished making meaningful progress in the story for the meantime, and saved your game, in order to then unleash hell on the city without consequences. While incredibly fun, it does somehow make play feel a little bit disjointed, like there's 2 separate modes to GTA, story mode and freestyle chaos mode, which is great, but GTA 5 goes some way to correct this ludonarrative dissonance with the introduction of Trevor Phillips, the first GTA protagonist who, thanks to being a psychotic arsehole from hell with a propensity for violence, makes rampages feel somewhat justified and bridges the gap between story missions and unrelated idiotic anarchy. But Trevor is only one of the flavours of protagonist in GTA 5, the unhinged junkie psycho. There's also original gangster from the hood looking for the big score Franklin, and washed up Tony Soprano whose family hates him Michael. Now that is a somewhat simplified summary, but the broad stroke personalities are abated by great writing, brilliant performances, and great chemistry between the characters. I also feel like there's much greater characterization for the protagonists in GTA 5 than any other GTA. Have you noticed how almost every other GTA starts with the protagonists newly arriving in town on a quest to find fortune in a new city? But in GTA 5, our three protagonists are already dwelling in Los Santos when we meet them. They're established, so we skip over the part when they arrive at the airport and instead we join them in the midst of their Los Santos existence, in medias res. We see inside their homes, meet their friends and families, check out their Life Invader page, and as such I feel that offers the characters greater depth much sooner. And all the major characters are convincing and memorable. Their dialogue feels natural and authentic. It doesn't feel like video game dialogue. I can't think of any other game that could come up with a line like yee ass haircut. It's transcendent. And it's not just the character dialogue that's incisive and genuine, but the writing throughout is brilliant. From the inane to insane patter of the radio DJs to the unique banter from the hundreds of pedestrians. It's comedy gold and it's satire on the levels of The Onion. And that's one thing GTA 5 probably doesn't get enough credit for, that it's one of the funniest games ever. And speaking of the radio, that's another thing GTA 5 is best at. The best music. There's an eclectic mix of golden oldies as well as the bleeding edge of contemporary music, not to mention all the original music that was recorded specifically for it. As games as albums go, there's nothing even comes close. I think in future, if you ever fell out of the loop with what was popular in modern music across all genres, you could just check out the latest GTA soundtrack, like a Zeitgeist tape or something. And all of this goes without saying that it's the perfect soundscape for exploring the world of GTA 5. Los Santos and the surrounding Blaine County, one of the best open worlds in video games. The essence of Los Angeles has been so meticulously documented and reproduced into the perfectly distilled version that is Los Santos. So rich in detail and bustling with life, and beautiful too. The California skies, the swelling ocean, teeming with wildlife and brimming with atmosphere, and lit perfectly by a virtual West Coast sun. It feels like going on a holiday. I actually feel warm playing this game. And the scope of the world is unmatched too. There's sprawling urban areas of disparate neighbourhoods and commercial districts, as well as giant areas of wilderness. There's a perpetually running tram and freight train. GTA 5 even has its own internet with social media, shopping and stock market, plus hours of scheduled television. And it still blows my mind that pedestrians can actually stop and have conversations with you.
What's up, pal?
I'm happy, because I just got the last of the nasty turtle figures from Thor Toys. It's a collector's item. Now I have the whole set.
And I thought I needed therapy. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Every time I think about moving back to Broker, my eczema starts acting up.
Go fuck yourself.
Now, you could argue that GTA 5's cousin Red Dead Redemption 2 has just as vibrant and elaborate a world, and that's valid, thank you for pointing that out, but I would say it probably wouldn't have if it weren't for GTA 5 paving the way for it. And besides, Red Dead 2 doesn't have a fully explorable ocean full of aquatic life, or the same sense of verticality with skyscrapers you can dive off, also titty bars. So, I'm sure you've all heard that famous game industry quote supposedly uttered by legendary Nintendo developer Shigeru Miyamoto, and that is, "A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad." Now, there are exceptions obviously. No Man's Sky was eventually good years after release, but I think when Shigsy said that, it was before the era of the day one patch. But aside from most of Nintendo's own back catalogue, I think GTA 5 is the perfect example of what Miyamoto's talking about. Because it's one thing to be forever bad, or eventually good, but it's another to be forever good, and forever popular as the case seems to be. And yes, GTA 5 was in fact delayed, but 10 years later, who can remember? It doesn't matter. What matters is the legacy, the impact, and the sheer fact that GTA 5 is still a great game after all this time. And I'm still noticing new things to this day. It feels like a game that has been built to be enjoyed for a very long time. At least until the next one comes out, which should be any day now.